Welcome to another reading. I'm going to use this opportunity while I don't have any viewers to start a series on something that I haven't seen out there, at least with other readers. So you will see other readers focus on astrology a lot, which I really don't do. I know about astrology. I think that it's a little bit difficult with this many people online. So regardless of who comes to the channel, I at least now have no intention on splitting readings according to astrological zodiac signs. That being said, I think there's a certain, I do tend to want to focus my readings specifically for a male audience. And I want to focus on some of the common modern day issues that y'all are dealing with. I think that's more important than your star sign. So that's where I'm coming from. I have a background in psychology, and I have experience with tarot reading as well. So I hopefully can blend those two things together as I go through this. But right now, what I really wanted to focus on and hopefully do a quick little reading on is this cultural phenomenon of self-diagnosis and diagnosis of particular personality disorders, especially narcissism. So what I mean by that is I think that there's probably a lot of you out there who at one point or another, through maybe an act of rage or a passionate exchange, someone might have called you a narcissist. I think that that word gets thrown out around a lot. And I think that it's a really hurtful and I think it's a really terrible thing to yell at somebody, regardless of how mad you are at them. And even if that person was actually diagnosed by a professional as having narcissistic personality disorder, it's really not very cool to say that in anger or in an argument or to prove a point, right? So I think that generally name calling should be completely off the books when you're having any kind of exchange with another human being or even with yourself. You shouldn't be calling yourself names. But when it comes to really strong stuff like that, calling someone a narcissist is just about as bad as it can get. That being said, there's a lot in the cultural bandwidth that encourages narcissism, right? So this feeling of entitlement, this grandiosity, it comes from very easily from social media. So I think that there's a high degree of narcissism in our culture, right? But when we boil it down to a real strong, when you come to a point where we're diagnosing someone as a narcissist, for example, as a layman, like just a girlfriend screaming at her boyfriend that he's a narcissist, what it comes down to is a cry for help because the empathy isn't there, or they don't feel like the empathy is there. And that is the real litmus test with narcissistic personality disorder, is that feelings of empathy aren't often expressed, and this is the real diagnosis, but some people with narcissistic personality disorder, they see feelings of empathy as a sign of weakness, right? So you can have those feelings and not be a narcissist. And in fact, those feelings of inability to share and express empathy, and those feelings of seeing empathy as a weakness, that comes too from being raised by a family that doesn't show it. So if you are having trouble expressing empathy, you don't diagnose yourself with anything. You don't necessarily have a personality disorder. It's just you weren't equipped with the tools to show that empathy. You probably feel it, you just don't know how to express it. And you're afraid of looking weak because maybe somebody told you in your family that that was a weakness. So I do want to pull cards. I don't want to go on a diatribe, but I did want to explain a little bit about narcissism because I'm probably going to be pulling on the phenomenon. I think there's a lot of men right now who feel pigeonholed into these labels that they then take on the identity and the role of. So, if a couple of girlfriends call you a narcissist and you look it up on Google and you self-diagnose it can be kind of a rabbit hole. And I don't want anyone who comes to this channel to feel like they're unsupported, or I want to create awareness out there generally. And the big picture is I want everyone to stop calling each other narcissists. I think it's really unfair and completely cruel. So anyway, I did shuffle the deck, finally tarot, right? It's 6 minutes in. The bottom card is the Knight of Wands. So the Knights are forward movement. The Knights are adventurous. And then in this case, Wands are playful. Wands are the life of the party. So the Knight of Wands is definitely the life of the party. And often, let's see what else we have. So we have the Seven of Wands. We have the Five of Swords. And I will tell you that I don't think anyone has ever pulled on a situation like this, at least that I've seen, pulled on a group of people who have been sort of victimized by this type of name calling or this type of labeling. So I'm going to do the best I can. But the other thing that you really need to realize, no matter what tarot card reader you listen to, is that this doesn't happen in a vacuum. So, and I'm going to keep saying this on every video, but this doesn't happen in a vacuum. And every single reader is going to imbibe, going to share part of themselves with the readings. It's impossible not to. So, as much as we can kind of try to separate ourselves and provide a clear reading for someone else, it's still us leaking through. So some of me, some of another tarot card reader in their readings will leak through into the reading, especially in early days when there aren't a lot of other viewers that I'm pulling on. So, as this channel broadens, then we'll get some other influences that'll be stronger than mine. Okay, so, wow. So this, by the way, is sort of my card, the Knight of Cups. I've done a lot of thinking about the Knight of Cups. I've done paintings of the Knight of Cups. It's my card and it resonates with me a lot. So that's one of the reasons why I let you know that all readings are going to be influenced by the reader, one way or another. So take everything with a grain of salt, of course, and of course, they're really only for entertainment purposes. But hopefully, if you're able to get some type of, if something resonates with you and you're able to take something away that helps you make a decision or take on part of your journey with courage, then that's the intention. I did have a card fly out, which I pay attention to. So the Knight of Swords kind of flew out. I'm going to put it up there. So we have the Seven of Wands, the Five of Swords, the Knight of Cups, the Seven of Cups, and the King of Cups. So if you don't know, cups are the suit of love and emotion. I think with I don't even know how to, I don't even want to label it, so I'm just going to say with you. If this resonates with you and the diatribe that I gave before resonates with you, I'm just going to say you. So if you've had trouble sharing emotions, this makes sense to me. If you've even had trouble reconciling your emotions with yourself, this makes sense to me. If you've come in to circumstances, whether it be a career or a love relationship or just a situation of opportunity with great gusto and with adventure and with love, and then later had second thoughts or had trouble deciding, then this is for you. So the answer is in meditation, I think. If you do find yourself struggling to share empathy, struggling to really see yourself in someone else's shoes, struggling to have the perspective from another person and really be mindful of that, I would say as advice, try meditation. And I mean, be really serious about it. Be really serious about it. Don't fuck around. Get either, if you don't follow a really strict meditative leader, like with a TM with transcendental meditation, like I do, or if you follow even an app would be better than nothing, but at least 10 minutes, none of this 5-minute meditation, at least 10 to 20 minutes of meditation. I prefer transcendental because it really helps to bypass the emotional response. If you're quick to anger or if you're quick to express negative emotions, but you're really slow to express positive emotions, it can be really helpful. So both the Seven of Wands and the King of Cups would tell me that. This particular deck, I wasn't even going to use this deck. I was going to use another deck, but I decided to use this one again. And I think that it came out correctly. So meditation is a great way to get in touch with your own emotions. The truth is that you can't be empathetic to someone else and to their emotions if you are not mindful of your own, if you don't know what it feels like. That's what the baseline of all of this is, right? You can understand intellectually someone who lives on the street and who is begging for food and who has had a very difficult year, let's say, and is struggling to even survive. You can understand intellectually. I just said it, and that's about all we need to do, right? Intellectually. But in order to have empathy for their situation, we really need to be in touch with our own feelings. And so the first part of that, having empathy for someone else, is in understanding your own feelings. That can be really scary, but if you do it by yourself, and if you do it through meditation and you understand yourself in that way, I think it can be very helpful. It's hard to get quiet, and I think that's sort of the kryptonite of sort of a narcissistic culture is quiet. If you think about it, there's a lot of people talking, and a lot of that grandiosity and that feeling of superiority and that craving of attention and that envy. A lot of that is coming from social media, and that's all very noisy, and everybody's competing with this noise to get the most attention, to become the highest level of narcissism, right? I mean that in a very undiagnosed, very sort of cultural way, right? So I really think that the kryptonite of that is complete silence. So if you do meditate, if you can meditate in silence, if you can read in complete silence, I think that that is the opposite. The polar opposite of everything that we experience in this culture that tends to have a narcissistic drain on our spirits. And that's really what I think I'm talking about now, is that cultural narcissistic drain on our spirits. And that's what's happening. So meditation and quiet and logging off. And I think, everybody recognizes at this point that logging off of social media is a great idea. But it goes deeper than that. Culturally, we're changing, for sure. So I did shuffle the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and it looks like the 9 of Wands is on the bottom card, and I just pulled for the 7 of Wands, but it's really sort of generalized for everything, I think, is the feeling that I got. So the Ace of Swords, which is incoming, something new. I am drawn to the Crown, which is hilarious because that's very that's royalty, that's expectation, that's entitlement, right? This makes perfect sense. So, yes, I don't even think I'm going to clarify all the cards because I do want this to be pretty short. So this is a secondary reading, sort of a solution within the problem, within the solution. So if we look at the 2 of Pentacles, there's often a choice with 2s. And so we definitely have the choice whether we contribute to this or learn to untangle ourselves from the cultural phenomenon and learn to untangle ourselves from maybe a family history or a upbringing that created this lack of empathy or this judgment or this negative perception of the world. It's up to us. It's up to our choice whether we change it for ourselves. And that's where justice comes in, because that's a choice to better yourself in this situation, creating justice for your own soul versus going with the flow. And then the Knight of Cups coming in, of course, both of these are the Knight of Cups, but the Knight of Cups coming in really just reinforces the true element of love being involved. And I think that there's a little bit of negativity with that aspect of love. I think there's a little bit too much self-love in a negative way, a little too much of that. But it's not that. It's a fake perception of one's own place, right? Because we really have to build ourselves up, especially if we're, if we're Instagram influencers, then obviously that is kind of an illusion. I mean, people do get paid for that, but it's kind of an illusion when it comes down to the end. If we shut off internet, they wouldn't be anything. So I think there's a little bit of an illusion of that love and a little bit of a snake. I'm seeing a snake chasing its own tail. So there's that aspect of the love, but I think that there's this aspect of self-love that needs to be reinforced when you make those decisions to better yourself. So I'm kind of talking about two things, and I'm sorry if it's confusing, but it is kind of a confusing world. But definitely, if you do look to improve your own experience and you want to become more empathetic, and you have had experiences where that label has been thrown at you, I think you have a great opportunity to open up yourself, and not for them, but for you, discover what you're missing when you have the opportunity to have empathy and share in humanity with the rest of, hopefully, a lot more people. But I just want to pull one card, and I'm going to pull from a different deck on the King of Cups, because I'm definitely missing something. And I know this has been rambly, but I'm going to continue on this. I'm going to continue on this journey of isolating these sort of archetypes in our culture. And I think as it really goes, you're an archetype. If you're watching this, you're part of this archetype of our culture that has been put into this pin, this label, and I think it's not really deserved all the time, right? So King of Cups, I just do want to draw one card. So this is the Empress. The Empress is ultimately love, and the Empress is femininity, and the Empress can often be something feminine that you seek comfort in. This particular Empress on this deck, as she's with the child, I think often represents, to me, it represents motherhood. So, however that resonates for you, I think that it's a powerful message of nurture yourself and maybe have respect for the connections that you have with those nurturing energies. And if in fact it is a nurturing energy that comes through to you and encourages you to dig deeper into your emotions and dig deeper into evaluating your childhood and how you respond to life events and to other people, then I would say take the opportunity to travel that and be appreciative that that person is in your life. If that's a person, if it's a career that is challenging you as well, and maybe it's a career that puts you in a position of leadership or management over other people, and you have maybe a difficult time empathizing with them, I say it's worth the effort to bring them along with you in a positive way, and it's worth the effort to learn how to do that. So I hope this helped whoever it's for. And I'm definitely going to try to do this with more regularity, but as this channel progresses, and I think that, I appreciate you sticking around with me, because this is the first one that I've done. And if you've made it this far, thank you very much.